Hi, Cynthia. How are you doing today?
Hey, Will, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Well, we're here to chat a little bit about the September Coaches Corner. We're working on a Showcase Your Value series, and Cynthia's going to share a little bit about a client she had an experience with that we turned into a case study. So, Cynthia, can you share with me the goals of the leader of this particular organization that you worked with?
Yes, I had a discussion with the owner. Again, a small firm of 10. They wanted, their original request to me was, will the assessment help me increase valuation? At some point, they wanted to retire and they wanted to make sure that the value was demonstratable, if you will, to potential buyers. I think that they also talked about, they felt that they didn't understand their staff needs as clearly as they could, and they felt that there was perhaps some communication issues. So, of course, understanding staff needs and improving communication all go hand in hand with increasing valuation. But that was the discussion, was mostly about valuation, understanding their needs, and improved communication.
Okay, that's very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Cynthia. As you were thinking about working with this organization, what happened during your work with them? What were some of the aha moments? What were some of the outcomes?
Well, the discussion took place in the beginning days of the pandemic. So we're talking back in 2020. The owner had seen and learned about the C5. We had a conversation, and she said that very little communication or understanding she felt was happening in the organization because there were three generations. We had the boomer, we had the millennial, and we had the Gen Z. And she felt that there was a lot of pushing and pulling, but didn't understand why. And the manager over the staff, there was a staff of 7. That manager also had exactly the same types of feelings. Ultimately, when we finished, what was amazing is that we went from 33% connecting rate to a 58% connecting rate. And at one point, that connecting rate was as high as 86%.
Yeah, that's pretty unique, Cynthia. Why was that?
Well, there was a problem that arose in 1 month that the leader didn't realize. And when it was brought to their attention, uh, specifically brought to her attention, she went out and resolved the issue for the group. And then that connecting rate went up. And then it went back down to a kind of more normal level the following month. But what the value of that is that the owners saw the metric. They saw the metrics go down on connecting, then they saw it go straight back up as a result of her actions. So that was pretty cool. And then, their well-being index on top of just the connecting rate, the well-being index went from concerned to absolutely energized group. And the anxiety at work rating went from concerned to minimal. So all of the metrics were viewable over the course of time. It was pretty awesome to see those metrics.
Right. And I think there's definitely a correlation to be drawn between the connecting in the organization and an improvement in well-being and a reduction in anxiety because the leader actually took the action and took the steps needed to make a difference and communicate with her team.
Absolutely. And that's what the metrics can do for a leader or a leadership team, is point them in the right direction without guessing. No roadmaps.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. How did this happen? What steps were taken next with this particular leader and client?
But when I think about that, I think back to the 4 dimensions of culture that we measure: our communication and trust, alignment and accountability. All 4 are connected. Communication and trust carry a bit more of an impact. And I talked about this in my coaches chat. The leader became more aware of generational needs and how to communicate to staff with clarity so that that communication was heard and understood and responded to. The thing that I didn't expect, I didn't see coming, was a really nice result, which was the manager that oversaw the tech team uh, became more engaged in their communication with the team. And that, between the manager and the team itself, increased the level of trust that did not exist before. I thought that was awesome because both sides of the house, the manager was communicating better, and the team was responding more clearly and trusted the manager more, which, it's all about trust, Will. The minute you lose
Absolutely.
trust, right? The minute you lose trust, you're not getting it back anytime soon. Increased trust led to more of a staff alignment around what the strategic goals were discussed, around the leaders outlined the strategic issues. So that alignment came kind of more organically, if you will. And of course, more alignment led to more acceptance of accountability. Accountability to the team member themselves, accountability to the team as a whole, and accountability to the organization as a whole. There was not from any perspective, not from the owner, the manager, or the team, there was no more pushing and pulling to get where they needed and wanted to go. It was more, again, organic and more fluid because communication, trust, alignment fell into place, if you will, with using the metrics that the C5 gave them and practicing and working towards the action plan that actually address those metrics, address what the.
Yeah, I think this is a really great example of a company that invested 12 months and a per continuous 12 months to continue to improve communication, to look at taking a need that staff had and the leader and coach addressing that. And I think that's really where the value of the metrics come in. It's an opportunity to start a discussion.
Absolutely will. And if there was ever any doubt about that, we have plenty of case studies that will prove that when the action plan is discussed in detail with the leader and the possibilities are discussed, it is then the leader and the leadership or team's responsibility to then communicate that to the managers and have the managers communicate to staff. It's all about that communication that develops trust, that enables alignment to happen, and the acceptance of accountability. It's all kind of like the shin bones connected to the knee bone kind of thing, right?
Absolutely. So, hey, well, thanks for joining us. And Cynthia, as always, thank you for sharing your insights. We hope you got some really great nuggets out of our discussion today, and we look forward to sharing with you next month.